It's a brand new day. Hey. Wake up every morning and say, it's a brand new day. Hey. Take a good day, make it great, okay? Cause if you got some lemons, make some lemonade. Yeah, chase those clouds away. It's a
Welcome to
brand new
Women of
day.
Abundant Wealth, where we inspire everyone to be healthy, wealthy, and whole. I am your host, Shanila.
I am Kathy.
And I am Lisa.
And today we have a special guest, Jalen, here. But, Jalen, you drove all the way down here from Fort Worth to Dallas in a storm. We were just talking about storms last week. And it's still storming.
Popped up randomly, too, so I guess the enemy.
I heard you say it was hailing.
It was hailing. Everybody was stopping under the bridge, making sure everybody was safe. Traffic jammed up and everything.
Yeah.
So it was okay.
That was crazy. We was like, oh, my God, maybe we should tell him to turn around. He needs to turn around.
I was already on the way, so it's okay.
Turn around.
He was like, nope, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Yep, life's about challenges. Yeah.
That's good. Dedication. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit about me. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a father. I'm a husband. So a big thing on what I advocate for is faith in business, and I think that's a good foundation for everything. But I have a son, 18 months. His name's Carter. My wife's name is Talia, and that's kind of what I like to talk about as far as
Now,
that.
Jalen, I done had a whole spiel that I was going to do about you. Here you go.
She was going
Okay,
to introduce you
though.
properly.
I'm still gonna do it.
Yes.
I'm still going to do it. When we
That's
come back
all
from break, I'm going to do it.
Yes.
Because I was so
Still get
determined.
that introduction.
Uh-huh. But
Thank you for that.
That's all right.
Feel like I'm ready to
fell
get
right
right
on
to
in.
it.
Right.
Just going to the top.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit into what you do and everything, but I mean, I'm telling you guys, he's an amazing guy. We'll get into that in just a moment. We just want to chat a little bit, kind of loosen up first.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
Who is this sitting next to me?
I know.
I don't think it's Lisa.
Yeah. We don't recognize who that is.
Don't do that. Who should I be?
Tina Turner.
What? Oh, I better not do that. Yeah, girl, that good. I can't share
over
everything.
here.
Window shattered.
We don't need the windows shattered. It's rain.
Well, you know,
It's
clearing
stopped
up now,
raining.
yeah,
It's
so it's
clearing
gonna be
up.
nice and safe when you get home. Because I was scared. I'm like, oh my God, I see
Yeah.
you pop in. I was like, oh my God, he's here.
Yeah.
Just gotta make sure you drive with two hands.
Yeah.
That's it. Drive slower
Yeah.
than you normally do.
50 is cool.
Not 40 or 50. What?
That's a little
I
too.
be going 30.
Oh, she. Oh,
30. I be
Oh,
going
she
30.
said that's too fast.
Yeah.
That's just right. Because people
Oh,
will
wow.
drive. So you one of those people that drive.
I go 40, 50.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah.
We're on the same page.
I was
When
like,
she
that's a
said
little
30,
fast
I'm
to
like,
me. I'll be going 30.
I go 40.
in the rain. That's why these people out here in Texas always having accidents.
I don't have
You
accidents.
can have an
Ride
accident
too
driving
fast.
too slow too.
I never had one yet. I've been perfect
Actually-
driving slow.
I actually seen a website like 35, 30, and then I think 75 or 45 is like the worst highways in the country.
635.
Yeah, 635.
I can
Yeah.
believe
Oh,
it.
yeah.
So we got
It's
about 3 or 4.
confusing. When I first moved out here, I was always going the wrong way, taking the GPS to be like, because it's like quick turns here, one there, one. I'm like, I can't do this.
And then you have somebody that just go like this, and you're like, all right,
And
I
in
need to go
Fort
somewhere
Worth, y'all
else.
have a lot of those roundabout things. I was like, what the world is this?
You get used
The
to it.
roundabout.
That's like one of those toys that, you know,
Yeah.
you just move the
You gotta
car.
go around this way and then go that way. And I'm like,
It's crazy.
Like, y'all have roller coasters. You guys don't have highways and freeways.
I'm glad we don't have that here.
I am too.
feel like we
'Cause when
do,
I
though.
go over there, I be like, oh Lord, I got to deal with the roundabout.
Dallas is worse. You got like eight ramps
I
that
know.
go
I'm like,
this
I
way,
feel
that
like
way,
we do.
this
We
way.
got a roller coaster here too.
We have the high.
But they're highways, not no
The highways that
roundabout.
take you 2 million
Yeah.
different ways. You don't even know where to go.
Miss one
If
exit.
you stay on 20 or 635, you'll go all the way around.
All the way around.
All the way around in a circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
In a circle, in the back to the place.
Where you
I'm saying.
started.
And y'all make it seem like that's a good thing. I'm saying that.
You can't get lost. If you say, "What are you?" I'm like,
You can't get to your
You
destination
can't.
either. Talk about. Well,
You
this
go in a
is fun.
circle.
Okay, well, you go in that circle. You
I
gonna go
don't-
on break.
I'm going on break with y'all.
All right, we're gonna go on break together and not in a circle. We'll be right back.
Take a good day, make it great, okay? Cause if you got some lemons, make some lemonade.
Hi, and welcome back to Women of Abundant Wealth. We have our guest here, Jalen Witherspoon, and I'm going to do the introduction this time. So we have a rising star in our midst. This young man is sharp. He has a knowledge of wealth building principles that will last. He's not just talking about it. He is taking steps one by one. He is a man of God, an excellent husband and father. So our scout says that your life is definitely lining up. Can you go ahead and tell us about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I'll start off as far as like where I started. I lost my dad as a senior, so that gave me more of an insight to the struggles of businesses. Because usually when somebody is the face
senior
of
in
a
high
business,
school?
yeah, senior in high school. So usually when somebody's a face of a business, everybody's looking at them as like they're doing this, they're doing that. But when they're gone, it's like, okay, this is what really was going on.
Yeah.
So in business, you really have to have systems. So when I lost him, I found God. So that allowed me to see more in what the principles were and the values. It's not really like you have this, you have that, but it's really just the values and principles that goes into everything. So after I found God, I found my wife. And then after I found my wife, I found my son.
Y'all look so cute. You have a beautiful family, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
He said, or he found you.
yeah.
Your son found you.
Yeah, he's definitely beautiful, but he's a handful.
Oh,
yeah.
How old is he?
Yeah, 18 months. 18
Oh,
months.
yeah.
So he'll be 2. Yeah.
Yes.
But
Look, get ready for that.
he listens, but when he's in a new spot, it's like, nope, he'll go anywhere. He's curious, but he's actually very smart. He says ABCs, he counts all the time. He knows how to eat.
Wow.
He might dip too many fries in the ketchup, but he'll be
You would rob him.
Who's counting?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Deuteronomy 8:18 is power of God that gives us the ability to create wealth. So when you're creating wealth, it's very long term. It's not short term. So principle based is stone and sand. So when I take it step by step, it's like, if I make this decision, will I have a consequence in the end, or is it going to get me to another step? So that's how I see relationships too. So when businesses is all relationships, the way I met the scout for the Katrina, same way.
The name is anonymous. No, I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
that's fine. That's fine. But I feel like relationships is a great way to unlock a new avenue. So you can treat either life like a game and do whatever you want, or you can treat it strategically. So I'll read books, I'll ask people questions, I'll try to figure out what the industry is or what I can do with this, and that just gives me more insight on what I can apply. Because I feel like where I'm weak at, somebody else might be strong at. So it definitely helps me in the long run.
And you're young, too. How old
Yes,
are you?
you
I'm 21. Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know when you said senior, I'm like high school, but I'm thinking like
Long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking a long time ago. I'm like, you
was
look like a senior. Like, you
yeah.
look,
Yeah.
senior now.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're
definitely.
already on the right path in life.
I think I get it from my mom, so puberty late, and then you look younger and older you get, so it's fine.
But I like the fact that you found God like after the trauma, because some people, they would turn a different way.
Right. They will blame God.
I turned a different way.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. You wanna
It's
talk
not in
about
a
that?
bad. It's not a bad thing, but like to see the bad, you have to see that allows you to be grateful for the good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after I lost him, I was already in college, so playing basketball, trying to get my school together. If I failed a class, it was like I failed a class. I really didn't take it serious. Graduation was like it's a piece of paper rather than enjoying the moment. So I think I lost a lot of moments not being present. So I say with business, the main reason I got into business is so I can be present with the ones I love. And that allows you not to be conscious about money decisions, whatever is going on. So when it's wealth building principles, I'm just helping people not be as conscious with the decisions they make. Because you like, out of the 20 decisions you made today, at least half of them had to be financial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
So if you're illiterate in that area, like imagine you went to a restaurant, you couldn't read or write. Or imagine you went on a cruise and then y'all got off the cruise, don't speak a lick of the language, you're not going to know where to go anywhere. So same thing with your finances. So the people that prepared in the 2010s, 2000s, they're doing fine now. But the people that didn't prepare, it's like, those are the conversations it's easier to have because they understand. So there's more pain there.
Yeah.
So since I found God, it's easier for me to have empathy for people like that rather than just, hey, I can show you this and make money.
That's true. Because
Yeah.
I see a lot of that. It's like, oh, and it's flashy. Like, oh, because people see that, oh, he has a nice car. He can teach me how to make money. But it's just like, buy my course, do this, and not to, because you can learn some things. But it's just, we think about that and think about, oh, we can get a nice car, this and that. But I'm like, are you really thinking financially and being financially responsible?
Right.
If you're thinking about making money to get nice things?
That's true.
So it's the root of a why. So that was actually one of the first books I read was Start With Why. So Apple versus I guess you can say Bill Gates and Google.
What was the book? Start with why?
Start with why.
Start with why.
So the root of it is in the beginning of the book. He talks about companies have to be very clear on their why, or something will happen and it will deteriorate the path. So before there was like flip phones. I'm forgetting the actual company, but it was based out in Canada. So once Apple came in the books, they were killing it for years, but they weren't clear with their why. So Apple came out with a new product. It started blowing up the popularity of the trends, which is what a lot of people fail with, is because you catch a trend and you catch a trend and you catch a trend.
Yes.
So you go from .com bubble to real estate to tech, how it is now.
Yes.
So everybody's catching trends, but there's no why to it. So you kind of slip in the gap, and then most people succeed and then others don't.
Do you think people give up because they're not chasing the why and they don't see what's coming to them?
I think
Don't see any progress.
I think same thing with people, businesses, and industries have identity crises too.
Yeah.
So when a person doesn't understand their self, then it's very hard for them to figure other things out. Same thing with business. It's hard to figure out their self if you're not clear on what the product is doing for people. So when I got into financial services, I'm very clear on, if I sit down across the table with somebody, am I getting to the root of the pain? Is there any pain? If there's not pain, you don't need what I have. I'm not going to sell you anything if you don't need what I have.
Exactly.
Right.
But if there's this, there's that, there's this, you don't even have a strategy. Is there anybody in your ear? Are you talking to certain people? If you're not, then you need somebody. And it might not be me, but you now know based off that one conversation, let me seek help and guidance. So most people need mentors or financial advisors, just somebody to steer the path. I think that's what God does for a lot of people, is just steer the path when you don't understand things.
That's good. I like how you kind of correlate the same.
Yeah.
Because it all, everything kind of, it's the same thing. We have to take the same process when we do everything.
Right.
So do you have a mentor?
Yeah. So I, God, my dad, and then I have two mentors. One's more spiritual and the other's more like the decision I make. So the accountability aspect. So since he's 50, if I have a conversation with somebody and I might not understand it or process it right, I'll go to him and be like, what would you do in this predicament or this situation? So it allows me to not make as many mistakes as the brothers. But spiritually, I feel like the accountability, like if you fall, get back up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So if there's nobody holding you accountable, you don't understand. If I did fall, does the enemy make me doubt what I'm doing? Or does he actually make me believe in what I'm doing? So I think that's what spiritually mentors help you.
That's good. Now, why do you think it's important to have a mentor? I think that people should know.
It helps you compress time. So two ways you can learn wisdom is by yourself and your own decisions, or through somebody else's decisions. That's why people read. So when you go to school, you take a course because you're gaining wisdom through that course.
Yes.
Or where's the course for life? Where's the course for your finances? Where's the course for your marriage? And as a Black community, where's this? Where's that? Where's this? Is there a gap in that? I'm not going to say what it is, but there's definitely gaps in certain communities. So if there's no mentor in that gap that you have, you're not seeking the actual strength that you could have in that gap.
Gotcha. Now, I heard you go with the scripture, Deuteronomy. Now, on the spiritual side, what would be your go-to scripture, other if that's not the one, for your motivation and your advice to give someone in regards to either spiritual or natural financial wealth?
Okay. So I think when I started, there's phases of verses. So when I first started, my spiritual mentor gave me Proverbs 3:5-6. So I've never actually verbatim said something about a verse. I couldn't remember anything, but that verse just stuck with me because at the time, it gave me faith. So trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not on thy own understanding. Acknowledge him in all thy ways and he shall direct thy path.
Yes, amen.
So that helps a lot of people. If you break it down into phases, it shows you that's what faith is. You might not understand it. You might not believe at the time, but just go with the flow. and then the other one is what
We're
Christians
gonna
are
hold
bound to
that
do.
thought. We're gonna talk about that more when we come back. Take a quick break. Welcome back to Women of Abundant Wealth. We're here with Jalen. The last question, so go ahead and continue.
Okay. So, first part is Proverbs, but the second part, it's not actually in the New Testament, it's in the Old Testament.
Okay.
So this was as I'm growing as a Christian, but when Adam and Eve ate the apple, God came to them, one as a man to take accountability. He asked for Adam, he didn't ask for Eve.
Okay.
So as a man, if there's any relations, if there's anything going on, the man should take accountability. Even if the woman's at fault, the man should take accountability. But second is when Adam and Eve told God that they were naked, God asked, who told you that you were naked? When somebody says, who told you that you were naked, is really rhetorical, because what God, and this isn't my sight, is that what God is saying is that the enemy will tell you things, but why
Yes.
do you believe?
Exactly.
So when you go to the New Testament with Christ, when he talks to Peter about coming out to the water, he said, why did you stop having faith?
Yeah.
When he comes out to the water and falls. So that, I think that correlation is like, we'll fall into sin because we hear other people, or we'll fall into doubt or fear because we're listening to other people rather than listening to what God is actually calling us to be.
Preach.
Yeah.
Jalen Sharp Witherspoon.
Yes.
That's what I'm gonna call you.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yep. Yeah. So I think just reading those verses and applying them to my life, even though it might not be at the right moment, applying them, maybe like I'll read a verse and then I might meditate on it. Like 6 months later, I'll be like, oh, this is what I need to do. So
Exactly.
it's not always like immediate gratification with certain things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just me processing it with God, or processing it with myself, or processing it with other people, that I actually pick up on these things.
Do you get a lot of financial advice
Yeah.
on the Bible?
Yeah.
People don't know
Oh,
that.
yes.
They
Yeah,
don't
you're
know that.
right.
Yeah.
They just think that it's just a bunch of whatever, but it's a life book.
Mhm.
It is.
So,
It's a,
Anything you need for your
what
life.
is your
you can
favorite
find.
there.
financial verse?
verse. Does it have to be like
Or
what God's
any-
telling us about wealth, or
Anything? Yes.
when Solomon's talking in Ecclesiastes, what he's
Yes.
really saying is life is meaningless without God.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at that, God gives us the power. That's why I said Deuteronomy in the beginning, to create wealth.
Yes.
That's all the same thing, to create anything.
Yes.
Because the one thing he gave us is the ability to create.
Yes.
That's why he had to change the language with Babylon. I mean, with the Tower of Babel. So because they see they can create things.
Yeah.
Once you see, you cannot take it away. Like no
Right,
matter what.
Absolutely.
Might be in the wrong way, it might be in the good way. But with wealth, what you really have to do is expose yourself. And I think reading the Bible, you see exposure and taking the veil away of what you thought was right. So I'm big on confrontation.
Okay.
So like if I feel like somebody's wrong about something, I'll ask just so they can hear in their own words, do they really believe in what they're saying?
Okay.
Same thing when somebody runs a business, talks about a vision, talks about their faith, because most people don't really take things 4, 5, 6 levels deep. They take it 1, 2, it might be broad, they'll say what they say, but there's no depth into it. Usually depth comes from experience. So when people go through life, they'll pick up on certain things, and that's what makes them the person that they are today.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about wealth, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
What?
when you're talking about wealth, it's really just you want to learn principles.
Yes.
So the rule of 100 is for retirement. Rule of 100 is whatever you're taking, you minus that by your age, that's how much should be in conservative assets.
Yes.
So real estate could be in a conservative asset. Stocks is really not a conservative asset. Most people, investments is just stocks. The most rate of return you can get in an investment, especially if you're younger than 55, 60, is yourself. There's people that turn around things at 50, and they're like KFC. KFC turn things around. And
I need you to say that louder and again, because people are like, "Oh, I'm too old. It's too late." You're not dead, so it's not too late.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You might live till you're 100, and those
Right.
last 40, maybe 50 years is
Yeah.
going to be the same as the first 50.
Right.
And believe it or not, Tina Turner is one of my best.
Let her speak. Let her speak.
She is one of my best motivationists, inspiration, whatever you want to call it. Because after the situation, the divorce, and she having to restart her life, she was over 40.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. Yep. I think you just got to get away
Yeah.
from comparing yourself. So with social media now, like you can compare
Oh,
yourself
yeah.
a lot to
Yeah.
Oh.
what this person doing, what this person doing, what this person doing. If I'll challenge you, go out and DM one of them, and then take them to eat, and then ask them all the questions you have about what they're doing.
And all you'll be doing is eating.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's what causes a lot of like depression, anxiety these days too. People see how other
Yeah.
people are living, but sometimes like you don't know how they got there, or you don't even know if they're even there. Some people are living a
Right.
false life on social
Exactly.
media.
Yes, they
Definitely.
You
are.
don't know what's going on in their life.
That's what they call catfish.
That's what they call lying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just flat out lying.
Yeah, just
Catfishing is lying too. So
yeah.
The catfish on MTV, everybody was getting caught.
I know.
Crazy.
I know. I don't know if all that was real.
It
I got catfished a couple times.
It might be
I know,
facade.
right?
They might be catfishing us.
Right.
We're catfishing the viewers.
Yeah, but yeah, it's the same thing with finances. Like somebody might look like they have it all, but they really
They
don't.
catfish.
Mm.
Yeah,
Right.
So with finances, if there's no principles in store, like you can make $1 million in a year, and then 5 years later, somebody will talk to you, and you'll still be trying to figure it out. Because it was quick money, it was quick decisions, it was one-stop shop to this, and now you have everything. But if there's no playing level or foundation for your finances, which is really emergency funds, saving, making sure you're not living over your means and not trying to do certain things. So if you can sacrifice 6 months of finances to take a vacation, you'll do that. But if you can sacrifice 6 months of finances to start a business or invest in land or invest in a property, even get foreclosures, like you can buy properties for like 10, 15 grand and people don't know that.
Oh wow.
Oh, tell me where those at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all ears.
If you go to the county, everything's public record.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So 2020 COVID, and this is whoever's watching it, you can take advantage, but 2020 COVID, they actually let people push out their mortgages. So since
Oh, yeah.
people
They did.
pushed out their mortgages, they didn't know they had to catch back up before. So all of those properties went into foreclosure. And I only know that because I talk to people in mortgage and real estate.
Yes.
So I'll talk to them, pick their brain, because really, like, my services actually aid them even more. Because
Oh,
I'll talk
okay.
to people in business valuations. Like, think about a company that's 30, 40 years in the making. They finally decide to sell because they want to retire. They've been living off a certain amount for the longest. When they sell their business, they have a lump sum and don't know where the money's coming in. So through annuities and things like that, you're actually guaranteeing your income for a period of time because of that. It's just a contract, but like even at that, there's other ways you can do it. Maybe invest it in private equity or something. Buy a startup, invest in a startup. They'll give you equity. That company, and I might hit and misses, but you invest in a company, 20 grand. It goes up to 500K. Like you have a portion of equity and you get a rate of return, and they give you
Yes.
dividends. So there's multiple ways to create wealth, but it's just actually learning. So what I'm saying, I don't fully know 100%. I
Yes.
still have to go and actually
Right, you're
invest.
21,
Yeah,
so you
exactly.
still got a lot to learn. Yeah.
Whole life
I
ahead
mean,
of
you know a lot already. You're on a
Yeah.
good path right now.
But it's just through connection. So I feel like how you treat one person is how you treat everything. How you do it one thing is how you do everything. So like discipline is big.
Yeah.
So if you don't
That's
discipline yourself,
important.
even if you feel like you shouldn't do it or you can't do it, like even with the little things about eating, like you eat certain things, like you're really your body's a temple. So is your mind. So is your heart. So those areas are all temples. What you feed it, it might go the other way. Same thing with your eyes. What you might bring you deceit down the road, but you don't see that because it's through that little commitment that you
Yeah.
have with yourself. And how people hold themselves accountable to what they actually want. You can tell if somebody's actually thinking big.
Wow, yeah.
Wow. And you know, I heard you say that you keep going and going and going. And I saw a post that you had on Facebook. And you said there are 3 reasons why you continue to go to events. And one was to learn. The other was for the vision. And then the inspiration. Can you tell us and tell the viewers elaborate on that a little bit more for us?
Well, events you have, so wealthy people can go to 5 conferences a year.
Okay.
Our opposite side is like people that aren't really focused on what they're doing. They'll go to they'll go to concerts, comedy shows, anything they want, vacations. But it's the opposite for wealthy people because they're clear on if I do this and this and this, then I'll be somewhere 5 years later that I've never seen before. So those events actually expose you to something you really can't see in the moment. 'Cause you might be going through something, you might be doing this, but those conversations, like you'll have a clear conversation with somebody, and all of a sudden they'll give you like a talking point to hit. You go back and process it, and all of a sudden you're learning things you never learned before.
Yes.
So not only that, the motivation is you can see people doing it. It's the same thing. Like you're seeing people in the action. Like, hey, I'm making 80 grand a month. I'm making 100 grand a month. I'm making 200 grand a month. I'm making millions of dollars a month. There's people my age making like 2-3 million a month.
Oh wow.
I'm looking at myself like, oh yeah, like but you see, if I didn't say that, you'd be like, 20 grand's a lot. 3 million's a lot. So think about if you expose yourself to 3 million, you turn around, make 50K, or you went from where you are now to there. It's like, it's a big difference, but because it exposes the potential you have. So if you don't expose yourself to different ideas and things and just picking up on other people's language, you can't figure things out.
Wow.
So that's why I go to events. And I used to go
Take me with you next time.
I know, all of us.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Most of the time, like you'd be surprised. Like the events when I first started, I'm not actively seeking events. I'm actively seeking people.
Yeah.
So those people expose you to events. So when you don't actually know what event to go to, just go find some people that might be doing the right things.
Yeah, that's some good advice. Because I think there's people that go to different events like throughout the week thinking they're going to get something, but they're just like, the same people you see bouncing around.
Right.
I'm like, I don't want to be one of those people like, oh yeah, come here every week. And it's like, you see the same people anyway.
Right.
I think a big part is you have to have intentions. So if you're not intentional with what you're doing, you can often get into a routine.
Yep.
So you got to think how you start your life is routine. Your parent, like with my son, I'm putting him, like you're going to sleep at this time.
Exactly.
You're not staying up past this time, or I'm not waking up in the morning. So like maybe your parents put you on a routine and you don't understand why. And now you're doing things and instead of actually buying into the routine, you're going away because you don't understand it. So with routines, school's a routine, how to treat yourself. But instead of this class, maybe it's this part for me, this part for my business, this part for my spouse, this part for my kids. And now you have a schedule. So when you have a schedule, these things that you did in one day might be a little bit, but in 6-12 months, it's way different because you're actually intentional with your time, which is what a lot of people forget is time is not money.
Yes.
Right.
So you have to just turn things around and actually look at it from a different perspective.
I say everybody that I know desires the same thing, and that's time and money.
Yeah.
We all desire the same
definitely.
thing.
Because you always say the day goes by so fast. Yeah.
We desire.
But it might be you desire it because you feel like you're losing it.
Yeah.
So what happens if you looked at it from an abundant standpoint? I already have the time I have. I already have the money I have. I just have to be resourceful.
Exactly.
So instead of seeing where you're scarce at, you might be abundant in that area.
And then I think age also makes a difference because I remember when I was younger, time seemed like it went really slow. Now that I'm older, time goes really fast.
Yes.
I've
Can't keep up.
been out of high school for 3-4 years, and it feels like I haven't done anything yet. People that are like 50, like I'll have a conversation with someone that's 50, they'll tell you about this story and this story. I used to do this, I used to do that. But like I think it's just because like they've grown into a different person, so they see that as funny.
Yes.
So what happens if you turn that around and you see this moment as funny because you were going through these problems?
Right.
And now because you were dedicated to something and you actually got into yourself, your identity, process things with yourself. Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to do this? How do I feel about my kids? How do I feel about my siblings? How do I feel about my spouse? I might be arguing with my spouse, but it's because she grew up this way and I grew up this way.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's no processing, you can't actually figure that out. So the same thing with every other area. You just have to figure things out and decide to question it, or else you can't really get into the value of what you're in store of.
Okay.
Well, Jalen Sharp Witherspoon. I gave him that name, by the way. Sharp.
New middle name.
Well, we really did enjoy having you on today.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
You are very wise for your age. Let me tell you that now. You're on the right track. Just keep going.
Let's
Thank you so
go.
much for coming. And thank you guys for watching. I hope that you got a lot from this interview because I sure did.
I did. Yes.
All right. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
A good way you can contact me by email is jalen.witherspoon10@gmail.com. Also Instagram, jalen._witherspoon.